There we are. All right. So we last week we studied 1 point perspective. That means everything that we're drawing is kind of going the same direction. When you're dealing with a building, which is what we're going to draw today, you actually have two vanishing points because the building is going in two separate directions. So I don't know. I'm going to pop this up so you guys can see it here. Go a little bit lower so we can really look at what's happening in this drawing. So a really common, so basically this line here is my horizon line. I'm standing on the sidewalk over here, and this is where my eye level is. It's where the sky meets the background. And and basically as I go up, what you can see is that my every angle steepens. They're not the same. If I were to measure them, each one is a little bit steeper, right, on one side. Uh, also, and this part of the building is going this way, and this part of the building is going another direction. That makes sense? So have you ever drawn a building where you've drawn all the windows equal sizes, equally spaced, and you wondered why it didn't look right? Well, that's because every time we go up and we look up, the angle steepens further. That means this angle, when I'm looking up, is less steep than this angle when I'm looking up. So this is not a straight line. These all go to a single vanishing point. Um, so on this side. And because this is going the other direction, these also go on a vanishing point. So to a separate vanishing point. The vanishing point is always on the eye level horizon. So when we're starting to draw our buildings, and in this case, you can see that means they all go to the same point, which is on this line. And what you can see is that I actually, if we were to draw this building to look like this, the vanishing point is actually off the page. It's about, because it has to be on the horizon here. So if I follow these lines, it's kind of somewhere here. I'll put a little mark there. This is actually my vanishing point. It's on the table. Um, I'm not going to have you do that today. That means the building that we're going to draw is going to be a little bit steeper because I'm going to have you put your vanishing points here. So I'm going to have you start on either end of the paper, and we're going to see what kind of building that gives us. So the first thing I'm drawing, that's not straight. Let's try that again. The first thing I'm drawing is my eye level horizon line. That is where the ground, in this case, the ground, I'll put this somewhere else. I'm just trying to think of where I'm going to put this, where it'll be out of the way. This is the eye level horizon, and it's really where the ground meets the sky. Right. So in that road that you were driving, so vanishing points are always on the eye level horizon. They're always there. And I'm going to have you put a vanishing point on this end of the line and a vanishing point on this end. It's hard to see it, I know. Let me see if I can get in a little closer. I'll take a picture of this so you guys can see it. So this is vanishing point one. This is vanishing point two. One is on this edge, one is on this edge. This is a straight, even line that goes straight across, which is the eye level horizon. Let me take a picture of this for you. And hang on, turn off my camera for a second so you can see, you can read it better. And I'm introducing this to you very early in the drawing process. Um, I'm going to teach this to you again at some point, and it's going to make a lot more sense because you will have made a lot more drawing mistakes at that point, and you'll, right? Like, so as you return, the rule will make more sense. It's a little bit hard to sometimes. Dang, it's still hard to see. Make it darker. I'll do it like this. It's better. It's really hard to photograph these things in a way that, oh, come on, don't be that way. I've marked them in marker so you can really see the vanishing points. No, hang on. Delete that. There we are. Okay. So go ahead and set up your building that way. And when you've got it, send it over to me. This is a little too low. Huh? There we go. I can squeak it in. When you've got it, send it over to me. I want to make sure we get this basic. This is our eye level horizon. Last week, in last week's assignment, I know where I have it. Okay. Uh, is that yours, the first one, Courtney? I can't see. Ooh, yes. Courtney, is that yours? The one that just came over?
Yes.
Okay. I'm having a little trouble seeing it. Are your two vanishing points exactly on your horizon line?
Yes.
Your eye level horizon? Great. Okay, that looks great.
I don't know how to, I guess I draw really light.
No, yeah, that's okay. I mean, I do too. Obviously, I'm having to like sort of push things. And George, when I see did you send yours to
Not yet. I was redrawing the line because it wasn't completely straight and
completely straight? I get
it
it.
was a bit
Okay.
unsatisfying. So
Okay. Remember,
yeah.
yes, it's good. I had to redraw my line. You can see my little mistake here. It happens. Some days you're on. I find with drawing and painting, some days you're on and some days you just aren't. Some days everything feels a little bit harder, which is totally fine. Um, And then I'm going to show you the next step in this. The next thing I'm going to do is draw this line for the center of the building where the two sides meet. And just like in last week's lesson, all of these lines are straight vertical. They aren't leaning, they're just straight up and down. So, yeah, this is a tricky one to show. I'm just going to use this piece of paper here as my straight edge. I'm lining it up so that it's not tipping, so it's lined up straight. And then I'm going to draw a line, a straight line that starts here and goes just a little bit below my eye level. So this is my eye level. Here's my bottom. Here's my top. And that's this line, which is where the two sides meet. How are you guys doing today? Looks perfect, George.
From you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Not bad. Excellent. That looks good, Courtney. Excellent. So, like before, we instead of focusing on every angle here, I always like to get the outside edges of a thing before I start working on any interior details. Right? Like with our lily, where we drew the kind of outer shape of the lily before we had any details inside. That kind of, because our tendency is to draw things too big or too small, it's good to kind of establish those outer um, things. So the beautiful thing here, let me check you out. I'm sure that's good. Yep, looks great, George. Okay. So I'm going to draw the lines on the top of the building. And what I'm going to do, and this is the great, when you really understand how great this is. So I'm going to line up my straight edge, which is just a piece of paper, just to show you don't have to get fussy or measury about this. And I'm lining up the top edge of my line here with my vanishing point. And then I'm drawing a line to the vanishing point like that. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom edge going up to the same vanishing point. So I have this side of the building. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Bottom over to my vanishing point. And the top. So now I kind of have the top and bottom of my building. There we go. That's the bottom, that's here, and that's the top. I'm interested. I never checked this. Huh. Interesting. This building is not actually equidistant on each side. This side's a little shorter, and this side's a little longer. So when I go out, I'm going to do this and then have you guys do the whole thing. When I go, so now I'm going to draw the outer bounds. These are vertical lines, right? Straight up and down. So I'm going to put my vertical line. Maybe I want my building to go to, actually, I'll mark it first. I think I want my building to end here on this side and a little bit farther on this side, farther to the left. But notice I'm hanging within this kind of envelope that was created by these lines. I'm not going any farther up or down. And then straight line. So it's almost like the vanishing point, goodness, is creating this little envelope in which I contain my building. It's okay that this line is going straight through the middle. That is okay. You're going to see how that plays in as we go. I'm checking my lines to see how straight they are. Oh, they look pretty good. So these are straight up and down. So these are, now we have the outside of the building. It's actually pretty easy. If you were trying to do this on your own, you might be trying to measure these. And as you can see, this angle is steeper because I'm not going off the page, right? Like if I wanted to make this more complicated for you, we would establish our vanishing points off the page. Because we're not going off the page, this is a little bit steeper. This building looks a little bit more dramatically inclined. So go ahead and get that going. When you've got it. How's that feeling? Weird, fun, interesting, surprising? Not what you thought? Maybe all of the above.
It's cool.
Yeah, I
It looks like
introduced this lesson. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no. I was just going to say that it looks funny because it looks like we're drawing a pyramid, so far, like the Egyptian tone.
Yeah, it does a little bit. I like that. Keep that in mind. You can turn it into one if you would like. I'm not going to get too fussy. When you think you have it, send it over. I'll take a look.
I think that maybe I set my
Say it does look like an Egyptian tomb. Um, George, I would say, I'm going to pop this up just for the sake of the exercise, because we're kind of, and I'm just noticing this isn't exactly straight. Just for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to have you, here, I'll pop it up so you can see. Come on. My God. I'm sorry. I really feel like you can see that I'm in my late 50s and not great with technology. I'm always like, what's going on? All right. So do you see how you have these equidistant? Bring this one out a little bit for the sake of the exercise, because this edge is a little bit longer than this edge. So bring this line, this dot, down to about here and make your end line here on this side.
Okay, but not the right one.
Not the right one. As I said, this is slightly, here, I'll point to it. I'll point to you in just a second. They're not exactly the same size.
Yeah.
Can you see
right.
that? They're not the same size. Your left brain wants to make them the same size, but they are not the same size. You can actually see there are 4 windows on this side and only 3 on this one. So that might give you a clue, but really it's good to like kind of pay attention to that stuff. Hang on, Courtney, I'll take a look at yours. Excellent. I think yours are equidistant too, Courtney. Yes. So you know what I'm going to have you do? Make the one on the right a little bit further, closer to the center line. Shorten it just a little bit. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can pop it up and show you.
I got it.
Yeah, okay. I often feel like words fail us. Words is a very left brain thing. It often fails us in trying to describe what's going on in this translation. All right. So now we're going to go to the first windows, top and bottom. And guess what? They also go to the same vanishing point. And I find it very helpful to define where these top and bottom edges go. So I actually mark them in first. Here's my top window, top and bottom. And then here's my middle window, a little bit down. And bottom. You know what? I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. You're going to see why in a minute. 2. Here is my second window. And then here is my last. It's here and then right below the eye level horizon. And then each one of these goes to the vanishing point. So each one of these will give you same vanishing point. So I remember thinking when I first started painting that I noticed that these angles were different. And I painstakingly measured every single one. Let's have this one. They all, every single dot goes to the same vanishing point. And then later I learned about perspective, and I was like, I wish I had known that when it would have been much easier if I'd known what the vanishing points were. On the very last one, which is below the eye level horizon, you're going to go up. You're not going to go down because you're below the eye level horizon. So this very final one goes up. Just like this one goes up, right? This bottom goes up. Everything goes to the same point. Here are my 3 window rows. If you want to bounce ahead, guess what? These lines work on the other side as well. So these lines I can, because buildings are generally fairly symmetrically built. So I can go to here. To get the other side. And it goes to the other vanishing point, which is at the same point as this one. So we know they're lined up. Everything goes to the same vanishing point. I hope I'm not going too fast. You guys tell me if you're
I just
lost.
have a question. Should we draw 3 rows of windows?
Yes, I'm having you draw. So this is the top row, this is the middle row, this is the bottom row.
Okay. So I have to make
Yeah.
them a bit bigger because I was drawing too many dots, I think. Okay.
Oh, yes, 3 rows. I mean, I'll let you play around with this design later, but I feel like it helps to have something to look at. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, to compare. That's why we copy stuff, right, at the beginning, and then you can do whatever you want. Let's do 3 rows of windows. So I'll show you guys something. Let's see. Sometimes it's easy to get kind of mixed up with the lines. That's okay. It's a little tedious. Drawing is a little tedious. It's that kind of tedium that we learn to embrace, like anything, um, like jogging. But also in this tedium, there's a kind of concentration that gets you out of your day to day and focused on getting something. That looks good, Courtney. Good. Really good. All right.
Thank you.
It's fun, isn't it? In a weird way. It's kind of twisted, but it's sort of in a twisted way, it's kind of fun. So now, once again, you're going to be, and this will take you guys a little while, so I'm going to show you now and then let you kind of have at it. So once again, if you notice, I'm lining up my straight edge with the bottom of the paper, so I'm drawing vertical lines. Each window is a vertical line contained between these three uh, envelopes of shape, right? Top and the bottom. So I can go like this, and these are vertical lines. They go straight up and down. So that's window line one. Notice that as these get further away, they get a little close. Well, we'll start with this next one. Here's window two. Window two, I'm going to put a little closer together, the lines a little closer together than between here and here. Window three is even closer. So I'm going to really mark these because there's a lot of lines on this paper. So these are my windows, the really dark edges, right? I'm even going to label them. This is the window. Window, window, window. The third set is going to be closer than the space between these two because it's going away from you. So spaces are closer together. And it's also going to be kind of narrower than this window. This set of windows. Window. And the final window is the narrowest of all and the closest of all. So each window, as it goes back, gets narrower and narrower. Window, window. Oops, and I can see a couple of my lines weren't quite straight. So you see, there's my windows. I'm going to send a picture of this so you can really look at it up close. So the W is where the window is. Everything else around it is not window. Here, hold on. Right. Oh, for goodness sakes. Remove the spotlight here. Take a picture. So here is my sketch at this point. Here we go. So I've just sent over a close-up of this so you guys can see it. See? Well, I looked at everybody's. think I have. Take your time with this. You want to, once you've got your windows, you can erase these lines in the middle. There we go. Of course, you're going to do it on the other side as well, but I want to see how this side goes first.
Leah, I think I messed it up a bit because I think exactly as you said, the point on the left, on the top of the building should have been lower because I only managed to draw three columns of of windows and not 4.
Maybe
Uh,
you made them big. Why don't you send it over and I'll take a look?
okay.
It's possible you made them too big, made each of them too big.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that or that
I can
set.
tell you in a minute. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I can tell you in 2 seconds what happened. And that is a very common thing to happen. There's also a bunch of other things that could happen. This is a little mind bending. Let's see. Yeah, you just didn't give yourself enough space.
Space, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
need a little bit more space. So, what I would do if I was you is here, I'll pop it up so I can show you. The quickest, easiest fix on this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what you have. I want to be clear in the sense that you follow the directions. But if you're wanting to really copy what's here, just see where my pointer is.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where your end of your building should be.
Okay.
So draw a straight line, erase this line,
Mm-hmm.
draw a straight line over here, and then you have room for one more set of windows,
Okay, nice.
right? So a lot of this, as you guys found out from the lesson where we did the lily, particularly, it's really easy to make things too big or too small. Not to quite. And even when we drew that awkward, weird shape that ultimately became a beautiful lily, I mean, everybody here nailed that assignment. Um, you still tweak it, right? So sometimes you can't figure it out until you look, and particularly when you're trying to copy something, like you're looking at something and you're trying to recreate it, sometimes there are different solutions to that problem. Sometimes we make things too big or too small. So there's lots of ways to handle it. And then go ahead on the other side and create, once you've got it, you can create the other windows. I'll do that really quick to show you. Let's see. This looks like it's tipping. Courtney, is that just how you took the picture?
I
This
hope not. Hang
whole
on.
thing looks like it's slanting. Can you take me a straight picture looking straight? Right, like right now, this looks like it's tipping. Now I'm straightening it, right? So take a
Mm-hmm.
picture of it straight
I
and
think I
let me
got
see
that.
it.
Hang on.
The key here, and here's what you're looking for, is that the space between here, this vanishing point and this vanishing point in here are the same. These are equal distant, right? That means this is a straight line across.
And it's also possible the original straight line was not straight.
Right. So like, and that's an easy correction, right? Like you can fix that. That's a pretty easy thing to look at. But I think it was just how you photographed it. I don't understand why it won't let me turn things around. That looks pretty good to me.
Okay, thanks.
I would go, you know what I would do though? I would make, since we're just tweaking, the things, I like the distance between the spaces. Um, so this is just nitpicky, but if you want to correct it, there's an easy correction and it's fun to do that. So here, let me pop this up. So where are we? Here. If you look, I'm looking at it sideways, but if
Mhm.
you see this, you have these two windows the same size.
Yeah,
This one should be a little bigger.
the middle one?
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
closer to you. So erase the bottom line, put a dot where my arrow is,
Mm-hmm.
and draw a new vanishing point. And that's like a quick, simple correction. You guys are doing great on this, though. This is perfect. And then you're going to, of course, go to the other side. Um, this lesson is really interesting. It hits so differently when you've been drawing for a while. Then all of a sudden you're like, every single problem I've ever had in drawing. So I'm introducing it now kind of a little early Um, just because I think it's a good thing theoretically to know, but it's also totally what'll happen is as you draw more things, you're going to see how this applies and be like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Here's my window one. That is really the amazing thing about drawing. You can't really get there without making a lot of mistakes. And they're the kind of common mistakes that we all make. Ah, on this side, there's a door. So down here, your door is actually, it's going to line up with the window, the middle one, but it's just going to go straight down all the way. See that? So instead of stopping here, your door will come past and go to the bottom of the building. And then here's the last one. Have found that I think my building's a little bit long on this side. So I want, watch here, I made a mistake here. Or I don't want to have to go back and redraw all my windows. So George, just like you, I'm going to erase my end line and bring it closer in so that my windows kind of come closer to the edge. I'm very intentionally not using a straight edge because, but I think it's a great thing to use a ruler for sure. It's a wonderful thing. Um, but I do try, here's the door, window, 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 window. Um, and then you can erase. We can get rid of all of these lines. Um, I do try, I forget what my point was here. I'm sure I'll remember at some point. I realized there was a point when I realized I was demoing, I was making so many mistakes and correcting them uh, that I realized my students didn't know I was making them. So now I try and point it out every time. I'm like, oh, look, I made a mistake, which is important because um, mistakes are still part of this process, even when you've been doing this a long time. There we go. Also, do you guys have any like watercolors or markers or color pencils or anything? Anything fun? Markers? Nothing? Okay.
Not with me.
Not with you. Okay. Then you can just play around with your pencil in adding details into this drawing. Hey, Courtney, are you using a different phone number for the WhatsApp thread than what I had you saved under? Is there a second? Do you have a second phone?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna just, that's cool. I got it. I'll save it. I'll pop in there
Am I
right now.
using a different WhatsApp?
It's not the WhatsApp, it's the number. Your number
Oh,
was showing up because I have you in my system. I'm gonna add you in as this.
I don't know, but that's me.
Yes, I'm adding you.
Okay.
I'm adding you. Gotcha. It was saying something like, this phone is not in your, and I'm like, that's weird because I know I added you to this already. Um, I don't know. I'm also erasing my middle lines here. Get rid of those. And maybe even my, oh yeah, down here. Once you've got to the building to this point, what I'm going to suggest is that you gussy it up a little. You can make it some little bricks if you want to. Remember that if you're doing bricks or boards, those will also follow to the vanishing point. You want to put little curtains in your windows. Remember these lines, these little window right bars, these ones I'll show you. So if you want to do like bar, like a little, not cross on your window, uh, bars sounds like you're in jail or something, not like that. Um, this is a straight up and down line. This line follows to the vanishing point. Right? So this line, this horizontal line will follow the vanishing point, just like the top and the bottom. You can put little curtains in there. If you want, you can add a sidewalk. And the sidewalk, right, which will be right here, kind of pointed right here, going off in two directions, also goes to the vanishing point on either side. So there is your sidewalk. If you want to add trees, they also do the same thing. So you can have like or street lights or something like that. They also will have their own, they will all each go right to the vanishing point. I'm not going to tell you what to do after this. I want you to just have fun turning this into and if you don't have like color, let's do it with like, drawings. You can do, little bricks if you want. You could do siding. Remember, all the siding will also get narrower. Um, honestly, do anything. You can also erase those W's once your window is kind of clear. You can put little people, you know, these are just little dots because it's small. Put little people, maybe a guy walking his dog. So that's just really dots. So now I want you to kind of own this, make this your own. Now that you've got the basic perspective in, you can do whatever you want with it. If you would like me to show you how to add trees or street lights, let me know. And at some point, you can erase these lines that are outside, right? We don't need them anymore. We don't need them. The 2-point perspective. It's cool. So last week, I'm just gonna So here's our exercise from last week, right? And if you'll notice, actually, these are all on the same page. Last week, everything was going this to one vanishing point in the center. It was all going the same direction away from us, but the same direction away from us. So that's one vanishing point. This is when things are going in different directions. That's two vanishing points, two separate vanishing points. I'm going to send you a picture of this. If you feel like mucking around with that, you're welcome to. It's harder, but it's fun. Is it fun? I don't know. Like it's challenging, but. And I'm going to pop this. I'm going to pop this off for just a second. Uh, I'm gonna remove the spotlight for a second while you guys work. I'll pop this right back up. And this is why I couldn't draw those damn boxes, this little thing I'm going to send you, because this is what I had to be doing, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't really understand it. Hang on, I'll send this over. Let's jump into Zoom. Actually, first. So I'm sending you kind of a close-up of my examples of what you could do with your building, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. Or you can take inspiration from what I've done. No big deal. Either way. Oh, yes. And I wanted to also send you this one just in case anybody felt like masochistically doing this. There's a little extra assignment if you feel like doing it. We won't do it in class. It looks brutal to me. We'll do it another time. Next week, we're going to talk about shading. So these, I thought getting these shapes right was going to be helpful because we're going to be working with cubes and spheres and cylinders. And it's kind of good to know how to draw those things. All right, now I'll jump back in. And ask me any questions as you're going along, guys. And you've got about 40 minutes, so we have a lot of time to kind of spice up there we go, this drawing. Let's see. What do we got here? Here, those look good. It looks great. I know.
Leah, I'm gonna say goodbye for now.
All right. Can you show me what you got?
Yeah, let me take a picture.
What do you think?
So far, so good. I'm trying to draw a
Yeah.
bird, but
Oh, yes. They can just be little V's
I
like
was
that.
trying to do it where the birds get smaller.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's fabulous. I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you.
That is awesome. And I like the little distressed, top on the left side. These are perfect.
I tried to draw
Excellent.
bricks, but it didn't look right. So those are the
Yeah, so just like an old, where are you, Courtney, again? Are you in New York?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. So you have all those beautiful old buildings to look at. That's really cool. It looks great. Yeah. We'll see you next week. We'll be talking about shading.
Thank you
Nice
for a
work.
great class.
Okay, excellent. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
And George, you can hang around if you want to. I feel like you basically did the assignment. If you want to work on it a little bit more, you totally can, or we can end class here, whatever you want to do. I realize I don't think I sent over. You're on mute, my friend, so I can't.
Sorry. I thought I hadn't unmuted.
Yeah.
Just a-
This is a wild lesson, isn't it? It's like really kind of not expected. I feel like you did great. I noticed you walked away as I was saying that. So you can add some more details to this, but in principle, you got it. And if you're here, hold on, I'm gonna just I realize I hadn't actually taken a picture of the actual source, so I'm gonna do that right now. we go. So here's the actual source. Just to look at it. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you mean about my task, about my assignment?
About the lesson, about your attempt at the lesson, about what we're studying here. What do you think about it in general?
Well, I already knew it, but I'm pretty sure right now that I love drawing buildings.
You what?
I love buildings.
Right.
I really enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, I think, of course, you were saying that maybe it's a bit too early to maybe yeah, like draw this.
You will understand this and appreciate it more once you've been drawing for a while. And you have to draw things that go back in space. And you will realize how applicable this is to almost everything we draw. It's kind of like one of those things where you're like, oh my God. And I was going to show you, I have this painting here, which is the second painting I ever made, the 25 years ago when I started. It's kind of a building into Tbilisi. And I knew, I could tell. So I guess I credit my artist eye that all these were not parallel, but I measured each one. I had no idea that I had to do the vanishing point. And in some areas, like here, I totally messed it up. I keep this around because I want to remind myself of both what I knew without knowing and what I didn't know. I didn't know how that worked. So I'll send a picture over so you can look at it just to see it. And I think these early pieces are really important because they show us we, in some way, are maybe picking up some of it, but the rule makes it so much easier. Like understanding the rules. So it's more like once you've gone through and made a mistakes on buildings, then you're like, oh, I think I really need to go back to vanishing points and seeing how those work.
Yeah, actually, what I meant is like I don't think it's too early. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it's really important and it's good to learn it. Yeah, very early. Actually, I think in school, I think I learned it. I think I was already like 15 or
Hmm.
16 years old. And I think we should have learned it a bit earlier. I mean, of course, we learned something like some very basics, but
And it's not often explained well because artists often struggle, including teachers, often struggle to explain what's
yeah.
happening. So it's often like not explained well. And that I think is really fascinating. Like, I'm like, wow, this is just um, that like the first teacher I had who threw all those boxes in front of me, he was he was a really good drawer, had clearly drawn his whole life. He couldn't explain to me anything. He could not explain to me what I was doing wrong. I know what I was doing wrong. I eventually figured it out, but he could not tell me because in his mind, he couldn't say, look, you only can go this way or this way. Angles need to be measured like at, angles like this. You can't measure your angle back like that. And I have really been struck by that some teachers explain it well and others really don't because it's hard to put words on it. It's hard to kind of put words on on a thing and see how that works. So it's very fascinating, but also because as we know more and we apply more, the more experience we have, the more we see the relevance of the rule.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like next week, we're going to draw a cube, and I'm going to remind you guys of vanishing point when we draw the cube. It's like the cube also follows vanishing point rules, right? But if I didn't have this lesson, everybody would be struggling with it. They'd be trying to figure out what angle to make everything. They'd be messing it up. They'd make the top too big. That would happen because we don't understand the rule of vanishing point. So that's like the thing that's kind of effective. That's why I was like, oh, I think we need to do this first which is the first time I've ever taught it that way. I usually do shading first and then vanishing point. But in this case, I was like, actually, vanishing point is about shape. And that's the first thing. And then shading is about within the shape, as things turn away, how do you make that? It's very fascinating. Like, how do you structure that in such a way? And then you do it again in a year and you'll be like, oh my God, all those things I was having trouble with. That apple I was having trouble with. That figure drawing class I was having trouble with. They also do the same thing. Like it does the same thing. So
I remember when I was a teenager, I used to struggle much more with shades than with vanishing points. I mean,
yeah.
I was very comfortable with vanishing points because they give you structure, as
They
you
give
were
you right. You place them somewhere, as long as they're on the eye level, you've got it. Everything goes to them. Yeah, it's like, thank God. Like there's something that makes this easier. And not like that painting I showed you. I'll send a picture across so you guys can see it. And you'll look and spend some time looking and seeing what mistakes I made, what I didn't get, and what I did. You'll see it. You'll see, oh, in some places she got it, but I didn't know the rule. So I was just kind of feeling my way through the shapes and I kind of saw it, but I didn't really understand what I was doing. And so that's what happens when you teach yourself, like you don't have the rule. So you can see parts of it, but you can't see the whole, and then you can't see the full application. And so people who teach themselves to draw, I have found this over time. I didn't learn to draw till I was 33. And I mean, still learning to draw, one could say, at 57. And what I felt was that everybody was ahead of me. But and I was intimidated by people who were better drawers than I was, who came to class, until I realized they taught themselves and they could only get to a point, and then they couldn't get any further because they couldn't deal with a face 3/4. They couldn't deal with things going back. They could do certain things well, but they couldn't like when things start to defy your understand, when they change right on the paper, the shape changes on the paper because we're going from 3 dimensions to 2. They couldn't do it. And so I was like, I could actually teach people who were better drawers than me to improve things by returning to these measurements that I was using. Gina Chua, your old boss, was a really great example. Gina is an incredible portrait artist. But she wouldn't measure. She would just kind of guess. And she sends stuff to me when she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh yeah, this side, you don't have the angles right. And here, this isn't quite placed in the right way. And she'd be guessing. And most of the time she'd do pretty good, but it like not having that structure to go, oh, I can see that this side of the face is also going to a vanishing point from here to here. You can actually see it because it's light, right? And this whole half is doing something different. It looks equal here, but when I turn here, like I haven't moved my finger, but look at how different this shape is. And so learning those structural things helps you kind of fill in the gaps. Right. So that's what's really helpful, right? Like that's why we keep returning to the rule and going, oh, that's why that I thought I was doing just fine. Right? Like I was doing just fine. And here's one more example I'll show you really quickly that I think works kind of well, and then we'll pop off. This is something I noticed even really people who came to me as really good self-taught drawers didn't get, which is that when you're drawing a cup on a flat surface, you have to have a rounded edge. It's not straight across. Why? So there's your table. Because we'll just make this a simple cup. This is one side of the cup. This is the front, and this is the side. These are each going right, to a vanishing point.
The drawing of a flat cup is a real cup. It's a cup with volume.
Yeah, this is not, I mean, I'm drawing what the mistake I saw people make all the time. They would draw their cup like this,
Yeah.
flat on the table, because intellectually we know the thing is sitting flat on the table, but it doesn't look flat on the table when we're looking at it. And that's because this cup has sides. But nobody knows that. So I can see people doing really great. And also, if we want to get really technical, halves of the cup, right? This is, oh, one more. I'm going to introduce this again later, but we'll have you take a look. Look at this. Okay. So if you look at this, there we go, cup, where is that pencil sitting on the mouth of the cup? Closer to us, farther away?
I'd say farther than closer, right?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Guess where it's sitting?
Just right in the middle, right?
Yeah. So people really struggle with that because intellectually you don't understand what's going on. So the mouth of the cup, people drew too big. Here, like here, hold on, like this, right? So angles, right? So people would draw the mouth of the cup like this and go, why does my cup look weird? We're going to go to this is what we're going to go in our first drawing, maybe our only drawing. We'll see how it goes. Right? They would draw something that looks like this because they're trying to draw something that's equidistant from this side to this side. But even though these are equal halves, they don't look equal when one is farther away from you than another. See that?
Yeah.
So those are things that people can't figure out. And that's what I've really learned. So even really good drawers don't understand that's happening. There are sides to the cup, even though it's a round thing that doesn't look like it has sides. So that's kind of where we're going to in this. It's a lot. It's a lot. But and it takes a lot of practice. I didn't really get it at first. It took me a long time. At maybe 10 or 15 years before I really began to understand the basics of drawing and how and what was happening and what I was missing. But because I learned as an adult, I also remember every mistake I made. So it's all very clearly imprinted on me, my process as I went through learning. And then, finally getting the training, reading the book, seeing the tip, having made the mistake enough times so that I knew I was doing something wrong to understand it. And then to think about ways to explain that to people. So it's a whole lot of things happening. It's fascinating. And it's a very intellectual, rigorous process, but it's very different than left brain intellectual, rigorous process. Left brain is about attaching concepts to, and then in your job, trying to like convey from one left brain language to another left brain language, what's the similar thing, right? So you're thinking in concepts all the time. But this is visual spatial, completely different set of logic.
Exactly. I think that one key thing to understand is like every drawing, every representation that we want to make on the paper, it's from a perspective. It's always going to be
it has to do with perspective.
You're in a perspective from the concept, from the yeah, I mean you're always going to have to deal with perspective, whatever you want to draw. So,
because you're drawing a 3D object on a flat surface. So there's a translation, and it's a spatial translation that is not obvious. It is not obvious. And you can kind of maybe see it a little bit, but if you don't understand the rule, then you can't entirely see it.
Yeah. That's why I think it's not too early. I think it's really fine that we're learning this right now.
Because it's fun, right? Yeah, it's like I didn't used to teach it right away, but in this class I have learned like Yeah, this is the direction. I think this makes sense because it's shape related. And even if everybody doesn't get it on every level, um, you will, trust me, students who've been working with me for 5 years or 10 years will still be able to learn something from this lesson. And it's because they now have that level of experience to understand, oh, yeah, what's the same about the building, the cup, the apple, the figure, the face, right? They all have sides. And as things move away from us, they change. Halves become stay half, but they become very unequal on the page. That's a very hard thing for people to wrap their mind around. And they angle up, right? Things angle up more sharply, just like that road. So, all right. Well, I will see you next week. Have fun with this. I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you, Leah.
Yeah. Thanks, George. Great job.
Have a nice day.
As usual, great conversation.